Hello, welcome to ToyMatt, where I review and compare toys both new and old. For more ToyMatt content, check out my social media. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the link in the description to get some neato ToyMatt merch, like this awesome Star Wars weapons t-shirt. That's right, show your bling with these priceless vintage Star Wars weapon accessories. But anyways, on to the video. Welcome to a brand new ToyMatt video. I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently with my video setup and with our topic today. So if you saw the title card, I am taking a look at some pitfalls when collecting and restoring some vintage toys. So here, I've got the 1977 Star Wars X-Wing fighter, got the vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza thrower, Generation 1 Transformers Metroplex, and the G.I. Joe Vamp. When I got back into toy collecting, I really wanted to recapture some of the toys from my childhood, specifically like things like the X-Wing and the Vamp. Oh yeah, I don't collect G.I. Joe, but that's another topic. Also, I wanted to pick up toys that I had always wanted but never had the chance to, like this Metroplex. However, I didn't want to buy vintage packaged toys and open them up so I can have that full experience. So the other option is buying vintage loose toys. Buying loose complete toys is also very difficult because a lot of toys came with a lot of different parts, and those parts were easily lost by children. And when you're getting to something that is over 40 years old, like this X-Wing, pieces and parts got lost, and there was a lot of time for that to happen. Or if you have something like Metroplex with so many additional parts, I'm surprised that there aren't even any complete loose examples today. Let's start off with some of the various pitfalls that I've run into with each of these toys, starting with the Star Wars X-Wing. So here's the original Star Wars X-Wing from 1978 with the Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot action figure inside. I picked this up from a collection I recovered from an old storage unit. Actually, I picked up two of these. The other one did not have the stickers. But I thought, hey, this could be, worth the time and effort to restore. It's just missing the top wings, the canopy, and the blasters. Okay, that's not so bad. So I packed these up and brought them here. They both have the same issues. So after doing a little bit of investigation and looking at the individual parts, I could see that the top wings were actually physically broken off. The plastic was broken and snapped. Then after searching the internet, noticed that the top wings, they're not really an available part that people are parting out and selling. Which makes me wonder if the top wings breaking off is a common occurrence with the X-Wing fighter. I was able to acquire the blasters rather easily and inexpensively. However, I have never been able to find a set of the top wings for an X-Wing, and I don't want to pull apart a more complete one to complete the ones I have. So these are kind of sitting in my collection, with me trying to figure out what I'm going to do with them. So moving on over here, the G.I. Joe Vamp. This was a toy that I had as a child. I got back to collecting. I never wanted to get into G.I. Joe collecting. I wanted to focus mainly on Star Wars, Ninja Turtles, and Transformers. But I have acquired some collections that have had some G.I. Joe stuff. And so we're going to give you a closer look at the G.I. Joe Vamp that I have. So this example of the Vamp has a couple issues. It is missing the laser cannon on the back, the driver. There are also a couple gas cans that go into the rack in the back. However, the biggest problem is that there is a crack in the hood right along here. So I could probably easily pick up the blaster cannon and the driver and the gas cans, but is it worth restoring a toy with a big crack across the front? But do I want to just get rid of it? It's kind of a catch-22. Do I want to, get rid of this toy that recovered from a collection, even though I'm not actively collecting the G.I. Joe line? So it kind of puts me in a weird place as a collector. Do I get rid of it or do I keep it? And by get rid of it, I mean dispose of it, because it's a broken toy from almost 40 years ago. But anyways, moving on. Now, let's take a look at Metroplex. This is one of the Transformers that I never had as a kid, and I thought it was cool because it's huge. He turns into a whole city that the other Transformers can drive around in. I know he's not as big as the modern Titan toys, but a 6-year-old ToyMatt thought this was one of the coolest things. And I never had it, but one of my friends did. So let's take a closer look at Metroplex. So here's Metroplex close up, and one of the things that you'll notice is he ain't got no hands. The hands were separate pieces, they were separate accessories, and Metroplex had a lot of accessories. Weapons, a smaller transformer, a little car named Scamper, some antennas, and they're just separate accessories that came off the toy, and haven't made it as far as me. I started looking for the weapons, and because they turn into, you can combine them together to make another quote transformer called Six Gun. Parts for the vintage Six Gun go for about twice the price of the main Metroplex body. That's not including the fists and the little transformer Scamper. And this is something that is really common with old toys and action figures, is that the actual main toy or action figure may be relatively inexpensive compared to the accessories. If you look at Star Wars blasters, I've seen auctions for individual blasters, or shoot, the pop-up R2-D2 lightsaber go for hundreds of dollars. Luckily, with Transformers, you don't have the issue with, hey, is somebody trying to rip me off with a reproduction accessory as often. But yeah, this is one of the issues when getting bigger toys or play sets is, okay, yep, this is a pretty neat, impressive piece, but how hard is it going to be to acquire all of the accessories that go with it? So I am considering whether or not to try to hunt down all the accessories for Metroplex here. And let's move on to our last toy. So now we're going to take a look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Pizza Shooter. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has like a special place in my heart as far as toy collecting, because this was the first toy line that I collected myself with my own money, if that makes sense. So I started getting an allowance when I got a little bit older, about 6 or 7, and I would save my money up and start picking up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys, because at that time, Star Wars was a thing of the past. The Transformers cartoon had gone into the 3rd season, and most of the original Transformers weren't showing up in the cartoon or in the toy aisles. And also at that time, G.I. Joe, which I was a big fan of, had started going to the more science fiction-esque characters and vehicles, and away from the more realistic vehicles and action figures. But let's take a closer look at the pizza shooter. So here's the pizza shooter, and it's mostly complete. I think I'm missing a couple of the pizza discs that get loaded up top, and the chair where the action figure sits. And I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. Okay, the chair probably won't be too expensive to pick up online, but there is a deeper concern. So this was a battery-operated toy I got as part of a donated collection. And, well, when I got it, the batteries were still in it. So there was probably 25, 30 years of corroding batteries. So let me pop off the top and show you the issue. So the top is the motorized portion, and there's the battery compartment on the bottom. Let me open that up. And I just dropped all the pieces on me. So there's the battery compartment. I hope you can see this, but there's a lot of corrosion in there. I tried cleaning it up, but I broke one of the contacts. And that, well, that was kind of disappointing to have something that I got as part of a collection, but while trying to clean it up, I damaged it. That's something you got to be very careful about when trying to restore old toys. Is, you know, the cleanup and restoration. Are you going to do more damage to the toy while trying to make it like new again? And we're back over here. So, anyways, these are just some of the pitfalls that I have personally run into while collecting toys and working on restoring vintage toys. I have actually had some success restoring vintage toys. If you look over my shoulder here, I've got an original Star Wars TIE Fighter from 1978. And I was able to find replacement parts and get the motor working again so it could make the battery operated sounds. So that is probably my biggest triumph in restoring an old toy. So it sits there on my shelf now. I've got the batteries out of the compartment, and it's a very nice display piece. However, in some cases, especially like with this X-Wing and the Vamp, old toys get broken. And personally, I am at a loss for what I should do when the repair replacement parts are too hard to come by. Should I part out the toy? Because I'm sure some people need the wheels to a Vamp or the main body to the X-Wing. So, what are your thoughts? What do you think I should do with these toys? Should I keep them? Should I part them out and try to sell them? Or is 40 years long enough, and should these be destined for the dumpster? Reach out in the comments below or the ToyMatt social medias. And until next time, take it to the ToyMatt.